Well, g'day everybody. Brent Sternberg here again from Casey Radio, joined as always by that gentleman there, Brendan Jonty Rhodes, as we're set to chew the fat, Jonty, on everything VFL again after round 12, another round that had some incredible results in it. How are you, mate?
Yeah, not bad, Brent. Great to be here again. And yeah, I'm just going to give up tipping. I reckon the way things are going, you cannot pick a winner to save your life.
No, it's incredible, been absolutely incredible. Let's go back and have a look at round 12 that had some simply stunning results in it. And we'll start all the way back on Friday, where it was Geelong with another good win, and they're starting to come with a hurry. The Cats 16-6, 102. They defeated Essendon 3-9-27. Another big win for the Cats, 75 points to the good of the Bombers. Darcy Lang with 5 goals. The Cats, second consecutive big win, Jonty. They're starting to rock and roll.
Yeah, they're in good shape, the Cats, and with the stars that they've got in that team that can't break into the AFL team, it just gives them the continuity to be able to keep going. Darcy Lang being the key one there, as you just mentioned. He's played over 100 games at AFL and VFL level, and that's the first time he's kicked 5 goals. So a fantastic performance from him, and backing up the efforts of Charlie Constable in the middle, who just can't stop getting the footy.
There's a few players in that side that are on the AFL list. Of course, Darcy Lang's not one of them, but probably a bit unlucky that they're not getting a go in the seniors. But the Cats at both levels are humming along nicely. To Saturday, Box Hill, 15-21, 111, had a comfortable win over Gold Coast, 5-9-39. The Hawks by 72 points. Fergus Green, former Bulldog listed player, of course, now playing for Box Hill, 6 goals, 4 in another comfortable win for the Hawks, Jonty, who are going okay as well.
Yeah, sneaking along under the radar because we don't get to see them much. Looking forward to hopefully getting that opportunity next week if the fixture stays the way it is. They're scheduled to head out to Casey, which should be a ring-a-ding-ding, as someone on our commentary team might say.
Yes.
But this game against Gold Coast, comfortable win as you expected. They had half a dozen players, the Suns, who were fill-ins from from either Werribee or the NAB League, so they were never going to be competitive. But they did keep Box Hill to their lowest ever score against the Suns. Admittedly, they've only played twice, the other one being, would you believe, on the exact same day back in 2010, the 3rd of July. Yeah. And that day was a big win, a 56-point win to Box Hill back then. This time it's 72, so no real problems there for the Hawks.
Coburg on the winners list. Sorry, Johnny, go on.
Sorry, Brent. I love just thinking things up at the last minute, remembering things at the last minute. Emerson Jecker is the other one. He could have had a field day alongside Fergus Green, but kicked 7 behinds in that game. So it could have really been ugly for the Suns.
Wow, so a little bit inaccurate for Emerson Jecker. Coburg, Jonty. Coburg 15-9-99. They defeated the Blues 9-8-62. Good win here for Coburg. 37-point winners. A 7-goal last quarter back at home at Piranha Park, of course. Home sweet home for the Burgers. What a great win.
Yeah, 3 points down at three-quarter time. They were the Lions in that one. So for them to respond to whatever Andrew Sturgis said at three-quarter time, just to get them going against the next-door neighbours and fire them up. It's the second time they've done that this year, of course. They overran Port Melbourne a few weeks ago in similar style. But, yeah, a great performance. They christened the return to their clubhouse, the new grandstand, in the best possible way with a great victory over Carlton. Their 3rd consecutive win over the Blues. Of course, the other 2 were way back in 2000 before Carlton went into that alignment with the Bull Ants. But, a very good result, and their equal highest score against Carlton as well for Coburg. So a very good result.
Well, we're going to see Coburg on Casey Radio as well this coming weekend in a huge clash. We'll get to that one in just a moment. The Northern Bull Ants, how about this, Jonty? Another great result, 8-7-55. Defeated the reigning premiers, if you don't mind. The Tigers, 5-12-42. It was the Ants by 13 points, 2 wins in a row for the Bull Ants and off the bottom of the ladder, Jonty.
Interestingly enough, in this one, Richmond dominated every single stat except the scoreboard. I think they had about 90 more disposals and about 75 of them were handballs. So that tells you that Richmond probably mucked around with the footy a little bit too much. But that also comes down to the pressure and the attack on the football and the man that the Bull Ants showed in that game. Richmond had, I think, 6 of the top 10 disposal winners on the ground as well. Behind Tom Wilson, the skipper, I suppose the spiritual leader of the Bull Ants who got it done for them. It's the first time they've beaten Richmond at Preston City Oval in 7 attempts, and the first time they've won a home game in 8 attempts, and they're now 2-16 against Richmond, breaking a 5-match losing streak. So it's certainly not something they've done a lot in the past, the Bull Ants knocking off the Tigers.
No, that was one of the upsets of the round. This was another one. We were there, Casey Field, Saturday night. The Giants, 8-7-55, defeated Casey 7-12-54. So the Giants hold on to beat Casey by 1 point. The Demons go down for the first time this year. The Giants actually come, another team, Jonty, that come from behind at three-quarter time. They were 15 points down at the main break, and this is a great win for the Giants, another team that has snuck under the radar as well, and they're not within a shout of playing finals this year.
Yeah, definitely that. It was 22 points midway through the third quarter. In fact, the Demons were in front and in total command, really, of the game. But the Giants just kept coming, and they had almost a full-strength team due to the foresight of bringing their entire squad down when they had to get out of Sydney a couple of weeks ago. And then for their top-ups, instead of calling on the NAB leaguers that they had to last week against Sydney, they were able to get 4 or 5 of their young academy kids out of southern New South Wales, which is only an orange zone. So that meant that the players that came in knew the Giants system, and they played it very, very well. Great to see Stephen Canelio back, 17 disposals, played in the midfield the entire time he was on the ground. Jesse Hogan looked all right, even though his stats didn't say that. And the Giants, their first win away in the VFL. So a fantastic result for them, and they couldn't have come up with a better opponent to do it against.
Yeah, no, great win for the boys in orange. To Sunday, Jonty, Collingwood 11-15-81. They defeated Sandringham 10-3-63. It was the Pies by 3 goals. The Zebras actually kicked 5 of the first 6 goals, but Collingwood ran on over the top of them. A good win here for the Pies, who have been a little bit hot and cold this year at the reserves level in the VFL.
Seems a bit that way, but at the end of the day, they're 5 wins and 2 losses, Collingwood. So it's hard to believe they're another one that snuck up. We've seen them on a couple of occasions. I wasn't there the first time when you saw them go down badly to Essendon when they had a few players out due to COVID rules, and then their win over Coburg by 4 points, which was an absolute cracker at Victoria Park. They found a way early in the season to win the close games, and now they're getting over the line a bit more comfortably. It's only the second time they played Sandy at Olympic Park. The last time they lost, so it's their first win over them there. Their highest score against Sandy at the ground, and Sandy's lowest score against Collingwood at the ground. Collingwood is a team to keep an eye on because they've got some really good young kids who are working their way up that aren't quite in that AFL team yet, but playing good footy at this level. Yeah,
and they're another one that are on the cusp of playing finals, like we say, without really setting the world on fire. They'll be pretty happy with 5-2 at this stage of the season. The Pies, Footscray, Jonty, 10-7-67. They knocked off North Melbourne 8-8-56. The Dogs in a close one there, 11 points, and this means now that, of course, Footscray are the last undefeated side and go to the top of the table.
Yeah, and it also proves that we can no longer underestimate North Melbourne and think that they're going to be a walkover. They have had 3 wins in a row leading into this game against increasingly good opposition, heading up the ladder, I should say, having beaten most recently it was Werribee, who I still believe are a premiership threat, even though they're sitting outside the 8. They beat Coburg. And and I've gone completely blank on the other one when
They beat
Essendon,
the Bombers.
they beat
The Bombers, yeah.
So they're working their way up the ladder, and to push what now appears to be the best team in the competition. We thought they were on a par with Casey. Now they've obviously stepped above them. You've really got to start watching North Melbourne, because if you're just slightly off, the Kangaroos will get you, and that's a great credit to Lee Adams and the entire team.
Yeah, no, there's going to be some finals teams that slip up against North Melbourne in the back end of the season, so they better be careful. And then the final game last week, Jonty, Sunday night or Sunday evening, Frankston 9-18-72 knocked off Sydney 6-8-44. It was the Dollies by 28 points in that one. Young man who keeps on keeping on, Nathan Freeman for the Dolphins. How he didn't get picked up in the mid-season draft, I still don't know. 45 disposals and a goal there for Frankston.
Yeah, it'd be handy in just about any midfield in the AFL right now, wouldn't he, Nathan Freeman? Spent most of this game floating across half back and even down to fullback, just mopping everything up as that loose man interceptor sort of role. But when they were struggling early, Frankston, to get on top and to actually kick straight, he was the one that went forward and kicked a goal that got them going. And he kicks about one goal every 4 games on average, and that's now 2 in 2 weeks. So he's starting to add that to his game, which has probably been one of the knocks on him. Is his one has been his disposal, the other one has been scoring. But if he can get himself on the scoreboard, especially at important times like that, it's really good. And this was a better game than the scoreboard indicates. The Swans really took it up to them for the entire first half, really. Some of their star, Ryan Clark had 39, Lewis Taylor had 35 and a couple of goals. Callum Sinclair was terrific in the ruck. Colin O'Riordan had 20 touches and took 9 marks in the first half alone. Wow. And a couple of their young top-up players, I was really impressed with Sam Witherden, a young fellow out of the Geelong Falcons. He looked really good. I think Fraser Maris was another one who looked good. Josh Guthrie, a player who is on Coburg's list and was loaned to the Swans for this game, had 27 touches on a wing in this game. He was absolutely fantastic and probably one of the best 3 or 4 players on the ground. So hopefully Andrew Sturgis and the Coburg selectors were watching, because he deserves to get a game on the back of that. If not, let him stay at the Swans and play some good senior footy.
So a win for Frankston that sees them back into the 8th position. Just quickly, the teams that were on the bye last week: Port Melbourne, Werribee, Williamstown, Aspley, who will be on the bye again this week. Of course, I think they're still in quarantine. The Hornets.
They get out tomorrow, Friday, yeah.
Tomorrow, yep. Brisbane and Southport for the other teams on the bye, as we have a bit of a look at the ladder after round 12, Jonty, which still is a little bit all over the place, although it's starting to tighten up in terms of games played. As we mentioned, Footscray on top. They've played 8 games now, so they've drawn level with Southport, and they are a game clear of Southport in 2nd position. Box Hill up into 3rd, but with a couple of games in hand of the 2 teams above them, and they are 2 games or 2 wins back from Footscray on top, so they're still within shouting distance there. Box Hill, Casey down into 4th, Geelong in 5th, Williamstown, Collingwood 6th and 7th, and as we say, Frankston with a win holding on to 8th spot there. The Giants are the first team looking into the 8th, the first team out looking in. That win over Casey did send them into 7th, but then the results on Sunday knocked them back down to 9th. And then we look down the bottom of the ladder, Jonty. The Northern Bull Ants are off the foot of the ladder, and the team on the bottom of the ladder is a team that nobody expected to see there coming into the season. Port Melbourne, Jonty, on the bottom of the ladder.
It's unbelievable. It's absolutely unbelievable. They are still a very, very good team, and one to watch, but just injuries and a little bit of inconsistency have hurt them. And yeah, I expect them to play a big spoiler role in the second half of the year. Make no question about that. They're too proud to be stuck down there for too long. Just before you move on, I will say, on top of the amazing figure of Port Melbourne being on the bottom of the ladder, as I said on vfl.com.au this week, Frankston, Coburg and the Northern Bull Ants, it is the first time that all 3 of them have won in the same round of football since round 13, 2008. 13 years ago to the day almost. It was the 6th of July in 2008. So that's absolutely fantastic. And the Dolphins win over the Swans, 450 wins in VFA, VFL football, to go with 542 losses and 11 draws in their 1,003 games. So congratulations to Frankston, onwards and upwards. I think they've been stuck in the 440s for about 4 years. So it's great to see them busting out of that rut and getting themselves back into being a competitive club.
And they'll be looking to make it win number 451 on Friday night, tomorrow night, when they play host to Port Melbourne at home at Skybus Stadium, 7:30 this one. Jonty, the first bounce, first game of round 13. Friday night footy, Frankston. They played a few Friday night games there. They welcome Port Melbourne on the bottom of the ladder. This will not be an easy game for them. We know that Port Melbourne are always a tough out. How do you see this one?
This is absolutely primed for an upset here. Port Melbourne, and it's hard to say that Port Melbourne beating Frankston would be an upset.
Yeah.
But the way the two teams are going at the moment, Frankston, as you said, sitting in 8th spot, 5 and 4. Port Melbourne on the bottom at 1 and 6. But what we've got is Frankston played on Sunday night, so they're coming off a 4-day break. Is that called 4 days or 5 days? 5-day break. Port Melbourne has had the bye, so they haven't played for 12 days since that game that we called against Williamstown Sunday week ago. So they've freshened up. They might get a couple back from injury. Wait with interest to see what the selected teams are, whether Frankston lose a couple. The Dolphins have lost 7 in a row to Port Melbourne and 15 out of the past 16. And in fact, haven't beaten the Borough since the 14th of April in 2013, when they won by a kick at this ground. So they're never going to get a better chance to break the drought and get themselves on the board. But yeah, whether I end up having the courage or not to, when I go ahead with the tips, but this one is made for Port Melbourne to get the win, and Frankston's going to really have to be on their guard.
It's going to be a pearler, Friday night football in the VFL. Look forward to that one. Saturday, we have 3 games coming your way, 2 absolute pearlers, including this first one, Williamstown and Geelong at Downer Oval, 12 p.m. Geelong in good form. Willie coming off the bye, but had a good win against Port Melbourne the week before. This will be a corker, Jonty.
Yeah, certainly will. 2 very, very good teams. And the Williamstown Downer Oval, Point Gellibrand, Williamstown Cricket Ground, all the names it's had over the years, whatever you want to call it. There's nothing between these two teams in recent times either. They've split their last 4 results with Cats win, Gulls, Cats, Gulls in the last 4 games. The last time was in 2019 when it actually got moved away from this ground due to the ground being unsuitable for play. So that's what sparked the complete redevelopment that's happened there at Williamstown, and the Cats come back here for the first time. I think Williamstown win. I think they should be too good on their home deck. They're a very good team. They're very hard to beat at home, but the Cats will be right with them all the way.
GWS and the Gold Coast Suns, they're down here in Victoria, of course. They're playing at ETU Stadium, so that's North Port Oval there in Port Melbourne, so a neutral ground for this game. 1 p.m, the Giants and the Suns. Jonty, the Giants with the chance to continue along their winning ways and get back into the 8 and hopefully stay there.
Yeah, well, that's it. They're going quite nicely. The Giants, that's who I was getting at, but the Suns did beat them twice a couple of years ago in 2019, so they'll have a bit of confidence out of that. A lot comes down again to how many players the Suns can get in and get available for this game. If they have to call on top-ups again, they won't be beating GWS. I'm hearing that Stephen Cornelio at least will play another game at VFL level to get himself ready for the AFL. That was mentioned on television last night. If that's the case, you think the Giants win.
And the other game on Saturday is another beauty, Werribee and Casey. This is out at Avalon Airport Oval. So the Tigers at home host the Demons, who are backing off a loss for the first time this year. 1 is the first bounce. Potential, Jonty, potential grand final preview, maybe?
Possibly. Although Werribee have to really start getting themselves going now after they've been stewing for 2 weeks on that loss to North Melbourne. So they'll be coming out angry. It's their first home game since May the 1st, since before the lockdown. So they'll be desperate to get back on the winners list. And it is also their 1,050th game in VFA, VFL football since they joined the competition back in 1965. So they survived an attempt to merge them and fold them and kick them out of the competition back in the early to mid 90s, just after they won a flag. But they got through that, and now they'll be pretty keen to get on with their winning way. It's a tough one playing Casey on the rebound. The Demons do lose Ben Brown, although Brown was a non-factor against GWS last week, being on restricted minutes due to him coming back into the AFL team. And they didn't kick it to him anyway, to be fair. He only had 3 touches. They didn't give him any chance whatsoever to get his hands on the football. They were pretty ordinary, Casey, last week, despite the fact that they were comfortably in front. I'm really not sure who wins this. Do you really want me to make a tip?
Yes, you have to. It's illegal not to.
It's illegal not to.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, in that case, I'm going to go for Werribee at home.
Jonty, I reckon we've gone through 4 games in round 13, and I think you've actually not given a tip for 3 of them. Who'd you tip?
Werribee.
Okay, there we go. There you go. Put it in your little black books. They're absolute certainties. Werribee. No, that's going to be a massive, massive game. That's the final game on Saturday out there at Avalon Airport Oval. So as I say, it is the Tigers at home, and they'd love to get a win over the Demons and really launch into the second half of the season. 5 games coming up on a manic Sunday in round 13 of the VFL. Footscray will play the Sydney Swans out at Victoria University Whitten Oval. This is an early start here. This one, 11:05, the top of the table, Jonty Bulldogs play the Swannies. I would hazard a guess and say this is going to be a bit easier tip for you in this one.
Yeah, the Swans are going to win easily. No, I'm absolutely kidding there. There was talk that the Swans were hoping to have their Newcastle 11 flying in today, being Thursday. If that is the case, that will obviously increase their competitiveness and give themselves a chance. But I think having those players in or having those players not in, it's very hard to see anything but an easy Bulldogs win in this game. We just hope that a lot of the supporters get out there and get behind both young teams, and then of course head across to Dockland Stadium for the AFL in the afternoon.
Southport and Brisbane on Sunday afternoon. This is at afternoon as well, 12:05. It's the only game not in Victoria this week. It's up there at the Sharks home ground, Fankhauser Reserve, Southport and the Lions. Jonty, Southport back off the break and looking to get on the winners list and continue their charge towards a top 4 berth.
Yeah, I think they've had 2 weeks off, haven't they? I think they've gone from a game clear on top to a game behind without actually playing a game. Sitting second on the ladder, going nicely, Southport. They played the Brisbane Lions only a couple of weeks ago. In fact, up there at Fankhauser Reserve, and yeah, it was a one-sided contest on that game. 19th of June, they won by 107 points. It's very, very hard to see the Lions turning a margin around like that in the space of 3 weeks.
Yep. No, I agree. I think Southport, they're having a fantastic season. They're a team to be reckoned with, I think, and they might, if I can make a prediction, Jonty, I think they might do a bit of a number on Brisbane, actually. I have not been impressed with the Lions at all at VFL level this year. To the next game on Sunday, it's Richmond and Collingwood. This is at the Swinburne Centre at 12 p.m. So the Tigers back at the Swinburne Centre. I don't think they've played there for a few weeks. A Tigers team that at both AFL and VFL level, the wheels have fallen off a little bit. They're playing Collingwood, who were coming off a win last week. The Tigers, Jonty, they need a win.
Yeah, no question about that. And you'd be amazed to know, even though Richmond have won the past 3 games against these 2 teams, I'm just quickly trying to bring up the stats. Collingwood has won the last 2 at the Swinburne Centre.
Right.
A couple of close ones, and I think it might turn out that it's been a long, long time since Richmond has won against Collingwood at this venue. Yeah, you'd think, again, it's made for Collingwood to win. A lot of it will depend, I think, on what's in Richmond's heads, because it seems like at the whole club level that there's something wrong at the moment. We know it's not footy ability because we know how great they are. So that only leads to it potentially being mental. And if they can get their heads right and get in the game, they beat Collingwood. If they can't, then they won't. It's as simple as that.
And they need to sort their stuff out quickly, the Tigers, or this season's going to get away from them. There should be a nice little crowd here as well, of course, with the 2 teams set to go at it in the AFL at the MCG later on that afternoon. Our broadcast game for round 13 is Sunday afternoon, and we cannot wait for this one. Coburg and the Northern Bullants, the return of the genuine battle of Bell Streets. This is at Piranha Park, 1 p.m. It is, I have to mention as well, it was remiss of me not to mention this earlier, it is NAIDOC week, of course, in the AFL and VFL. I just had a look before we come on air here, Jonty, at the NAIDOC jumper that Coburg will be wearing, and it looks just beautiful. Let's hope that they've got the numbers right. Casey couldn't do that last week in their Indigenous jumper, so let's hope that Coburg have all their numbers on the backs that line up with their normal numbers. But Coburg coming off a win, the Bullants coming off a win. This is a big game, Jonty. It always is, but 2 teams in form.
Oh, no question about that. It's something we certainly wouldn't have expected a couple of weeks ago, although the fixture wasn't out a couple of weeks ago and we had no idea these 2 teams were going to be playing each other. But yeah, the Bullants and the Lions, what a cracker! And it's definitely fitting as match of the round status at the moment, alongside the Werribee Casey and the other big game on Saturday between Williamstown and Geelong. Should be an absolute beauty. The Bullants are up and about, well and truly. The Lions are up and about. I would think if it was at Preston City Oval, I'd give the Bullants a much bigger chance. But Coburg's got a sniff of finals right now, and the last time a couple of weeks ago, they got beaten by North Melbourne away from home. If they drop another one like that, then they certainly won't be any chance of making the finals. So I think for that reason, they find a way, to get themselves over the line and get a win over the Bullants. But it's going to be a very, very good game for a very long time, and I can't wait to get out there.
Yeah, no, it is, and it's one of those games where it's a close game when really the only reason you sort of tip aside is because of home ground advantage, and that is this sort of game. So cannot wait for that one. 1 p.m. we'll be on air, 12:30 live from Piranha Park. Cannot wait for that. And the final game, Jonty, of round 13 is Sandringham and Essendon. This is a Trevor Barker Beach Oval, 2 p.m. Sandy coming off a game that they'll be disappointed that they lost against the Bombers.
Yes, definitely, Sandy. They had their chances. As you said, they kicked the first 4 goals or 5 of the first 6 goals of that game against Collingwood. The Bombers, they're down near the bottom of the ladder. And once again, if Sandringham wants to have any designs on sneaking into one of those 2 spots at the bottom of the 8, then they win this game at Trevor Barker Oval. We saw what they are capable of with what they did to Richmond there 2 weeks ago. And I think they'll be doing more of the same and beating Essendon.
4 teams are on the bye in round 13. Box Hill, North Melbourne, Aspley, as we know, and Carlton as well. So those 4 teams, including Aspley, will finally be back next weekend in round 14. So our broadcast game in the men's this week gang is the Battle of Bell Street, Jonty, which we're looking forward to. Coburg and the Northern Bull Ants Sunday afternoon out at Piranha Park. Their second game back there for the Burgers. They'll be looking to knock off their old rivals. 1 p.m. is the first bounce. We'll be on air from 12:30. And our game on Saturday, we're continuing our coverage of the VFLW finals. Will be at Victoria Park for Collingwood and Essendon, two age-old rivals that haven't played one another that much in the finals in the men's. They meet for the first time in the finals, the VFLW finals. And it's a win and you're in situation, Jonty. The winner goes through to the grand final after some crazy results last week in the elimination finals. Essendon from 5th have an opportunity now to beat Collingwood and go through to the grand final. The loser still have a pretty good fallback option, I suppose, which is a home preliminary final. So we're looking forward to that. 12 p.m. is at the bounce down there at Victoria Park, and we'll be on air at 11:30 a.m. as we look ahead to that one. Jonty, these two teams met earlier in the season and Essendon played them tough. It was at the Hangar. Collingwood won by only 10 points. So we expect a good one here with plenty on the line.
Yeah, certainly looking forward to this one. Should be a beauty. Collingwood going for 18 wins in a row. Haven't been beaten since just before the finals in 2019. So yeah, I think they continue along their merry way, but not without a bit of cheek from an Essendon team that has plenty of youth and plenty of experience and will refuse to lay down.
They are a dangerous team, Essendon. I tell you what, if Collingwood go into this game and think that it's going to be a walkover, they're going to be left to be embarrassed at Victoria Park, because this is a good Essendon team. We saw them last week against Casey, and they let Casey back into the game a little bit in the third quarter, but I thought anyway, they were much the better side for most of the game, Essendon. So we look forward to that. That's the elimination final. It's not an elimination final, I should say, a qualifying final, I guess. The winner gets a week off and goes through to the granny. Sorry, Johnny?
Yes, second semi-final, known as. And of course, the first semi being the other one later on Saturday afternoon between Geelong and the Southern Saints.
Yep, so that is an elimination. So the winner of that one will play the loser of our game in the preliminary final. The winner, like I say, from Collingwood and Essendon gets a week off. They can cool their heels, wait for the grand final, and watch the other two belt the crap out of one another in a preliminary final. So that's when you'll hear us this weekend, everybody, at Victoria Park for the second semi-final between Collingwood and Essendon, and then on Sunday for the Battle of Bell Street between Coburg and the Northern Bull Ants. We look forward to your company then, and Jonty and I will be back. One more thing from Jonty. Yes, Jonty?
Yep. Just before you go, I came up with that key stat for you.
Okay.
Richmond has not beaten Collingwood at Punt Road Oval since August 11, 1894.
Wow, you only would have been a young chap back then, Jonty.
Yeah. I was actually underneath the old scoreboard in the outer watching that game. It was a fantastic performance by the Tigers. They kicked clear in the last quarter after only being up after scores were level at 3/4 time. They kicked the last 3 goals.
Lovely. Thank you for that history lesson, Grandpa Jonty. You'll hear us on the weekend, everybody. Victoria Park from 11:30 on Saturday, and then Bell Street from 12:30, not Bell Street, the Battle of Bell Street, Piranha Park, 12:30, first bounce, 1 p.m. for the Burgers and the Bull Ants. You'll hear us then, everybody, and you'll see Jonty and I again next week. For now, it's bye-bye.